Now that we've talked about perennials, one of the biggest questions we get in the greenhouse is when people are in the spring, they're planting their pots and their hanging baskets, and they say, what can I grow in the shade? I have shady parts, I have a covering over my patio, I have trees. What flowers can I plant to grow in my shady spots? And there are quite a few, and I find myself always showing people to the certain benches that have those flowers, and you can plant shade annuals and get lots and lots of color and lots of texture and have really dynamic looking planters if you know what to look for. So I'm going to show some of the shade annuals that we have here at Wallace's, along with some other stuff that you can use to accent those. I'm going to start with Caladium, and these guys are a little small right now, but these are also known as elephant ears. And this is a foliage plant, so when you're working in the shade, a lot of your color comes from foliage as opposed to flowers, which is great because that is a built-in reason not to have to deadhead out in the garden as often as our sun gardeners do. So caladiums, they get nice and big, they work great in the middle of containers, and they have these huge leaves that will get almost dinner plate size, and they come in whites, greens, pinks, dark reds, just really beautiful colors, and they work as a great accent plant to add in with other impatiens. So caladiums are one to definitely try out. I also like to plant these in the ground amongst my hostas and my other shade perennials. They have a similar habit and a similar leaf shape to a hosta, and you'll have all your neighbors asking you where you got the pink hosta from, but it's actually a caladium. Some of my favorite flowers in annual shades are the SunPatiens. We're all familiar with impatiens, which are a great little shade annual. SunPatiens are a larger leaf, a larger flower. They get to be a nice big kind of 15-inch, nice mounded plant. They come in pinks, oranges, reds, purples, whites, lots of colors to choose from, and they bloom all summer. The one thing that I love about them is that they will grow in full shade. They will also grow in full sun. So if you are someone that has a deck that is divided where it's shade half the day and full hot sun in the afternoon, you can plant SunPatiens and have that look go across all of your containers while still using the same plant. So really, really versatile plant. One of our top sellers in the greenhouse is the SunPatiens line. I also like to use begonias. This is a wonderful little yellow begonia. In the front of my house, I tend to use the pink version of these, but a really nice kind of angel wing shaped leaf, and they bloom literally all season long. As long as you keep them watered and keep them happy, they are great to mix in. I mix these, my pink ones, with a Coleus and a Fern, and they just bloom and have this really bright, really pretty, almost rosebud-like flower all summer long, and they just get full of color. One of my must-have shade annuals is, been around for a long time, this is Dragon Wing Begonia. And this is another one, it gets absolutely huge. Just this one plant will probably get, 18, 24 inches tall and at least 15 to 18 inches wide. So you can plant it and it will fill a container very quickly, very easily, and it will bloom. It'll be covered in these flowers. You can buy red, pink, or white. I tend to go with the red, that's the original, and I just love the way it looks. Will go and bloom in full shade. The darkest spot you have, it will bloom. It's really forgiving if you forget to water. It's really forgiving if you overwater. And this plant will take a good bit of sun as well. So if you're unsure if you have sun or shade, this is a one that you can't mess up with. It's just an awesome plant. Grows really big. It makes you feel like an awesome gardener. And it's just something that every shade gardener should include Dragon Wing Begonia in their repertoire. There is a new version of that came out in 2024, and that is the bronze leaf version of Dragon Wing. So not quite as vigorous, so it's not going to be quite as big as the green leaf, but it is going to have those awesome begonia-like flowers, and it's going to bloom all the way through frost. So if you are a shade gardener, Dragon Wing is something that you just absolutely have to have. A lot of times people think when they have shade gardening that they can't attract hummingbirds and butterflies, but I want to show you these two awesome plants that grow in shade. The first one is, this is a Garden Meister Fuchsia, and it's got this kind of beautiful coral colored flowers, but they are trumpet shaped, and hummingbirds love these. So I am always doing one of my big window boxes on my deck. I always fill it with this Garden Meister Fuchsia and SunPatiens, and that coral color just attracts hummingbirds all day long. They're there having a snack, and so I love to have this in my shade garden, it will also work in a good bit of sun as well. And then this is a trailing plant. So when you're looking for something to kind of trail down the side of a container or out of a window box, this is Wishbone flower, which is also known as Torenia. And it comes in blue, white, purple. I like to use the blue one, especially when I use kind of my red dragon wings or my coral colored fuchsias, because that blue is a wonderful contrasting color. But this plant is also great for hummingbirds with its trumpet-shaped flower, and it just trails really, really nicely. And it grows in shade all the way to partial sun. It gets the name wishbone flower because when you look at the stamens, they actually come together in a wishbone shape, which is kind of a fun detail if you are telling anyone about your garden to add in where that plant gets its name from. As I mentioned before in this video, when you are a shade gardener, a lot of times where you get your color from is actually foliage and not flowers. And one of the best ways to do that is with Coleus. Coleus is such a versatile plant. Most of them can grow in full sun or they can grow in full shade. This is one that I love because it's got this beautiful kind of hot pink down the center, a nice bright green edge, lots of color contrast in every single leaf, and it's just gonna really show up. The stems kind of glow, that kind of bright, bright green. So in a shady location, they're really gonna stand out. So I love to use Coleus in my shade pots. They just do all kinds of wonderful things, add lots of color, no deadheading, and just really, really easy to take care of. I like to mix them, especially this one, with, this is a bird nest fern. You can also use an upright fern. This is a Kimberly queen fern, which is gonna give me lots of height. And this is a fern that will, again, grow in full shade. It will also grow in full sun. In sun, it's gonna be very upright. In the shade, it's gonna be a little bit more drapey and kind of stand up and then hang over. But it looks awesome when you mix it with these bright kind of pink and green Coleus. I love the way it adds texture, and it just adds a lot of volume to my planters and just makes any shade container look really, really lush and full. The last part of kind of foliage gardening that I like to point out is some of the more unique begonias. A lot of them flower. This is one that is known more for its foliage. It's called Griffin, and it has these kind of silver overlays on the foliage and just a really nice texture, neat leaf shape. You can also use Rex begonias to achieve that look, but it's really fun to mix in with some of your flowers and just add a little bit of texture and detail to a mixed combination container. I just shared some of my favorite shade annuals. We do have other varieties in the greenhouse that we are happy to show you and help you create an awesome shade combination. We love all types of flowers, whether they grow in sun or shade, and our greenhouse experts can definitely help steer you in the right directions. If you have shady areas, I hope you've learned some new things to try out and give you color all season long, just like you would get from any sun annuals. And thank you for watching. Stop in and see me at the greenhouse here in Bettendorf.